From Flat Top Mountain here in southern West Virginia, this is the Allegheny Front Almanac. I'm Doc, and it felt like 3 seasons arguing with each other. We started buried in the snow and ended in short sleeves. This is your Almanac for February 15th through the 21st. This week opened with real snow. Y'all know the kind. Make the roads quiet, make the barn feel heavy. For days, the ridge shrank down just to chores, to footprints, and breathing in that cold air. Though, by the weekend, it became unseasonably warm. Snow, it just melted away. And mud season came knocking early. In other news, I picked up my sister Jillian. She came back safely from Great Britain. She landed right into this chaotic weather. Dense fog when I picked her up. There's something a little fitting about after an international travel ended up in a snowstorm and deep fog here in the mountains. It's a big world and a small ridge, all within the same week. Also, my seed starting supplies arrived. The trays, the soil, the light. We're not planting yet, but we're close. And I can feel it. The excitement burns inside. There's just something exciting about this time of year when you're just about ready to start the planting. I also got inspired to finish a project I've been wanting to do for a while. So I built a locally hosted version of AIM and ICQ. You know, the old school messengers. And I can run them from my house. No corporate cloud. No overlords. No banning. Just signal between 2 machines. Kind of reminds me of the old internet days. It also kind of reminds me of what it must have felt like to rewire an old radio and just hear it crackle back to life. Really look forward to playing around with my server. If you're interested in joining my server, send me a message. I'll tell you how to connect to it, just for old time's sake. Though sometimes progress isn't forward, sometimes it's just rebuilding what used to work. Also this week, I began my LinkQuest.
Lingering snow showers and gusting across the northern mountains will continue to gradually taper overnight, giving way to a dry start with a new work week amid building high pressure. Temperatures will moderate through Tuesday, with another cold front arriving midweek that could bring rain, then snow showers.
This is your forecast for the Flat Top area. Winter open up the week with a firm grip. A winter storm warning will carry us into Monday night with light additional snow possible. And those roads, they're going to stay slick, especially those bridges. Monday will stay frigid and windy. You know, that kind of cold that just figures out a way to sneak in between your gloves when you're making your farm chores. So then the pivot should begin. By late Tuesday, Wednesday, temperatures will start climbing back into the 30s and 40s. It'll be partly sunny, breezy air, snow starting to taper off. Thursday shifts into wet, periods of rain moving through. Not a washout, but enough to soak. Then the real swing begins. Friday, we should see a push into the 50s. And Saturday may even brush into the 60s. That is a 40-degree arc in under a week. What do I expect? I expect mud season. So guys, winter is losing its grip, but it hasn't left the mountain entirely. February's never exit quietly. But right now, the ridge, it's negotiating the warmth. The sun has been very quiet. Little to no sunspots. No major flares. No geomagnetic drama. But after weeks of activity, the silence, it stands out. It's not alarming yet. It's just noticeable. Sometimes the quiet between events carries its own kind of tension. For the last 22 years, I've been doing something. I've called it the Lent Quest. Now, I'm not Catholic, but I do like the pageantry and do follow a Catholic's pattern of Lent. Not for the doctrine, but for the rhythm. There's power in millions of people choosing a discipline at the same time. The parallel quests, that shared current. So for this year, I decided no coffee. I'm focusing on 82 grams of protein a day. I'm going on forest walks, spending time meditating, maybe silent, maybe guided, depends on the day. And I'm focusing on only projects that feel clean, that feel like moving me forward. Now, giving up coffee, it hits every layer. It's a type of discipline. It's that nervous system reset. It's the break of dependence and proving that I can. So while it's only been a few days 1 through 3, they were absolutely the hardest. But now that I'm starting in this middle stretch, I'm definitely feeling it level off. Now that protein goal is absolutely precise. Strength. It's a measurable trail marker. And it's a number that I came across personally. Something that felt a challenge but achievable. Now the walks, they are unstructured. Just movement. Letting the ridge quietly direct me down different paths. Finding a system that works. And yes, all of this is about keeping out that bad juju. You feel it. It's from the war energy. It's from all that political noise. It's from that collective anxiety. That constant hum you're hearing of global instability. The quest isn't protection. It's a type of alignment. It's following marked trails through that loud terrain. Now, my first quest was about fasting and meeting people. Now, my quest changes every year. And some years I failed. But it's never really about passing or failing. It's about who I become by Easter. You can't just quest all year, because sometimes you have to build a base camp. But what Lent does is it helps sharpen your mind. Its victory is simple. Make it to Easter and feel ready to face the world. Join me. This week I kept circling back to something simple. Remembering your childhood desires. Not nostalgic, not sentimentally. Memory before fear. Before all this branding, before everything felt like a performance. Before we felt like you had to be the loudest voice in the room. So what did you want to build when you were 10? What fascinated you when you were 12? What did you draw? What did you take apart? What did you imagine you'd become before someone explained to you that it was realistic? What did you want to be? See, there's information there. Most people think maturity means abandoning those early sparks. See, I don't think that's true. I think maturity is learning how to build and how to build them properly. Starting those seeds under light. I did that this week by rebuilding my old messaging system. I stepped away. I walked through the woods. I didn't think anything about a productive matrix. Just thought about what I wanted to do. And I came back and I used that spark to find a way to build something I wanted, something I had. None of that is regression. Honestly, it feels more like alignment. There's a lot of anxiety in adulthood that comes from living so far away from our original wiring. We seem to optimize for approachability, for being stable, for what's the trend, maybe even survival. And somewhere along the way, we mute that frequency that made us feel alive. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, what did you love before you were told you shouldn't? Not everything from childhood is meant to be resurrected, but the energy behind it often is. So seek out curiosity, seek out exploration, build something for the sake of building it. Connect for the sake of connecting. That's clean power. And in a year that promotes, promises, acceleration, it's good to stay grounded, to remember who you were before all of that loud noise. don't know where to start, well, try this. Revisit an old hobby. Build something small and useless just because it fascinates you. Write down 3 things you loved at the age of 10. And ask yourself, which of those still pulls at you? You don't need to quit your life, become a cartoon of your childhood dreams. You just need to listen to what the younger version of you was pointing towards. Sometimes that child wasn't naive. Sometimes they were very clear. Maybe the work isn't becoming someone new. Maybe it's just remembering someone who was original. Guys, this week we saw that the snow fell. Then it melted. Signals returned, and the sun was quiet. This wasn't really a loud week, but we prepared. We received, and we sharpened. There's an ignition ahead. But this week was about steadiness before things start accelerating. Until next time, I'm Doc, here on the Allegheny Front. Live slowly, love deeply, and fear nothing.